Hey, recruiters here, your life applications officer. Let's start off with poop. Let's talk about poop for a second. Um, when you feel the urge that you got to go, it shouldn't be anybody's problem but yours. You should find a private place, like let's say a restroom, a bathroom, and do your thing and get it all out. Okay, before you get back in the car. Okay, if you're in the car and you feel like you got to puke, then you should open up the door and blah, let it out. Don't puke at me in the back seat or puke in the passenger seat. Let it out. Um, but that's what this uh, Uber driver did today. He did the opposite. He he just pooped when I got in the car. He pooped right out of his mouth. Okay. Um, let's start off with talking about Easter, and he and I agreed that um, him and I agreed that a lot of holidays, especially Christian holidays, since this pandemic started, has been just treated like it's nothing. Like, it's just been, oh, the stores are selling you stuff, but there's no decorations, there's no lightings, there's no, uh, you know, I mean, even though the Easter Bunny really doesn't have much to do with Easter, there's not even an Easter Bunny. It's just people selling you chocolate and selling you, more of what you like because it's Easter. Um, I don't think he understood that Easter was a Christian holiday. I don't think he understood, this brother, what Easter was. When I mentioned, yeah, all the Christian holidays are being downplayed today, he was like, he went on a pause there, you know. I don't think he understood that Easter is a Christian holiday. He thought Easter was just, a bunny day or something. I don't know what he was thinking. Um, but, you know, Donald Trump is where I can't dance with black folks. Even if I wasn't black. Like, and even if I was, pro black, I wouldn't be able to deal with, what a lot of black people are saying about Donald Trump. Now, Donald Trump is gone. And most people don't believe that he'll ever be selected in 2024, even if he runs. But yet, people are still hating on the man. They're still blaming him for everything. Okay? We got crisis in America right now, and they're blaming Trump for it. What a conspiracy. What a trick. What a trick. Um, what brought this on was we were talking, me and this young man were talking, and he says to me, no, I said to him, um, it seems like this pandemic is doing nothing but dividing us. And he agreed that the pandemic is just going too far with the mandates and, making every little variance that happens across America or happens across the world in another country or whatever, America's problem. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't mess with our freedom. You know what I'm saying? Like, do whatever you need to do before you go to messing with our freedom. And me and him agreed on that. But when I said to him that it seems like this uh, pandemic is dividing us and keeping us apart. And I guess he said, no, 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 no. And this was where he pooped right out of his mouth. He said, no, 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 no. Trump did that. So that tells me that he thinks this is the problem I have in America. This is the problem I have with my whole upbringing, other than my mother. Okay, everybody I've been around, everybody I come up with in my life, like, okay, so now we're going to turn the pandemic and how it divides us into conversation. This is one of the conversations we're about to have. It's just between two black people that don't make no goddamn sense. You know what I'm saying? Let me tell you something. There is no conversation that two black people need to have that white people can't join in. Let me say that again. There is no conversation that two black people can have where white people can't join in unless we're really honestly saying something nasty about that white person. Okay? Something very criminal, something that we shouldn't say. Okay? But this is what gets me, and he's another one. Like, you know, um, Miss Cleavage the other day. He's another one that mentioned something about Trump and Mexicans. Okay, look here, look here, look here. This is Pittsburgh. Okay, from the time I was a child to a time to this point, I'm sitting here. I've always known. I've never seen it, but I've always heard about it. And when I went to New York to visit my cousin years ago, that was the first time I've ever seen, you know, a legal. When I went to Brooklyn years ago, back in the early '80s, it's the first time I ever seen a Spanish family or a Puerto Rican family. Um, and so many of them in one place at one time in Brooklyn. There's a lot of, I think it's Puerto Ricans in Brooklyn, I think. And the thing about New York and black folks and Spanish folks hanging out together um, is that if we hang out together, we have the best time. If we go to fighting, oh, it gets bloody. It gets nasty. You don't want a Spanish kid to feel like he's being bullied or feel like he keeps losing the fight that he betted to win. Okay. It gets nasty. Then he starts, maybe people start picking up weapons and, you know, and we just supposed to be playing, you know. But that's the way it was in Brooklyn, okay, where my cousin grew up. And, but other than that, we ran together. We, you know, we did everything together, except Spanish families didn't really like Spanish kids going in black folks' homes in Brooklyn. Like, if we can see you and you want to play out on the lawn with this black kid, that's one thing. But we don't really trust you going in their homes. We don't trust what these blacks might do to you if you go in their homes. We don't really we don't go that far with black people. Now that might be natural. That's fine. But other than that, that experience I had for 2 days of bliss, that experience that I had, getting to know other races. And me growing up in McKeesport / Pittsburgh, um, I also had the experience of being, um, friends with multiple races in my upbringing in the in the McKeesport section. I don't know if you want to call it the McKeesport section of Pittsburgh or just the McKeesport, Pennsylvania. That's very close to Pittsburgh. It's all part of Pittsburgh's problem. McKeesport is shared with Pittsburgh. So if you go on vacation in Pittsburgh and you go up to McKeesport, you're still considered in Pittsburgh. But back in the day, McKeesport had its own thing going. Okay, and it wasn't until it became a ghetto that um, people feel that they need to go to Pittsburgh for every little thing. Back in the day, you could live in McKeesport and get off the plane and go straight to McKeesport, and everything you needed was there. You didn't need to go to Pittsburgh for anything. Okay, it's not like that today. Pittsburgh, or McKeesport rather, is nothing without Pittsburgh. Okay, back in the day, it was different. McKeesport had everything there that you needed. When I lived in McKeesport, we didn't even worry about coming to Pittsburgh. We came to Pittsburgh to go to church. But all of our shopping and all of our livelihood and all of our going out, having a great time and everything was right there in the city of McKeesport. Okay, or the town, rather, of McKeesport. That's how beautiful a place it was at one time. Now it's a freaking, sign of the apocalypse. It's a freaking sign of, destruction, mayhem. It's it's the poster city for destruction and mayhem and violence and crime and you name it. Okay, but they had even more of that relation. Of course, when I was in McKeesport, um, we had various races living in that little town. Um, we had Asians, we had blacks, Spanish people, Indian people, Native Americans, a little bit of everybody in that town, and definitely whites. Okay. A little bit of everybody living in that town. And, you know, we lived on one side of the street in these luxury apartments, and we were still segregated. We lived on one side of the street in these luxury apartments, but our school teachers and our police and our lawyers and that lived on the other side of the street, on the other side of the hill there, in that little beautiful neighborhood. And the fire department and everything was over there. We lived over here right on the edge of downtown, and nobody complained because the kids over there that were wealthy had to pass us to go downtown. So they'd stop, see us, say, "Hey, you want to ride our bikes downtown? Yeah, let's do that." You know what I'm saying? So we'd all get together. It didn't matter what walk of life we came from. We all got together. The wealthy kids would stop in our housing project, which wasn't the projects. Back then it was owned, I think now it's government, but back then it was owned by a very, very, very wealthy, they didn't like to do, very wealthy white, millionaire. And the apartments were just awesome, you know. Um, but that's another video. But um, we all hung together. The point is, we all got together. Kids have that. They don't look at things the way adults do. Kids look at kids like other kids. You know what I'm saying? So we all got together. We all rode downtown. Police weren't worried about crime and that going on downtown and all that stuff. They was worried about us kids going down there and, having people slam on their brakes while we're flying by on our bikes and all that kind of stuff. You know, there was enough kids where there was always kids getting hurt all the time by being reckless downtown McKeesport. Um, but that was the life that I was lucky and so lucky to live and privileged to live at that time that I'll never forget it. And this guy, let me get back to it. This fool had the nerve to mention this again. But like I traveled to Maryland, I traveled to DC. I got friends that got kids that went to Maryland University. Um, I got friends who live in Maryland. Okay, I've heard about Chicago, and I've heard about other places, especially going all the way down to California. You know what I mean? Even in Hawaii, there is war between blacks and Mexicans. Now, I've never had a war between between myself and a Mexican. I've met Mexicans that don't like me. I've met Mexicans, and when I say Mexicans, I'm talking about someone that is related to Mexican, someone that had to cross that border one time. An actual Mexican is hard to come by. Okay, usually we're talking Puerto Ricans or Latinos. Okay, we're not really talking about actual Mexicans, but actual Mexicans, yes, there's a lot of war between actual Mexicans and other Spanish groups that are legal citizens, as well as blacks and whites and etc. Okay, Spanish people tend to try and especially if they're not legal citizens, especially if they become legal and they start to rise, and build up, pile up in the neighborhood and all like that, they tend to try to segregate. That's one of the things that they're doing in California right now. And they've been doing it right now as I speak. They've been doing it for a while now. Okay? Segregation. They want segregation. They want Spanish people to have their own. In my country? I don't think so. But they want Mexican people to have their own. And I know that when you go from state to state, the relations between Spanish speaking people and Americans, whether they be black or white, okay, is different. Now, in these little hit towns around Pittsburgh, okay, I did a video before this and I deleted it because, my tones weren't exactly where they should be. I'm going to put my tones right where they need to be. Here up in here in the north, in a lot of these little small hit towns, Mexicans and blacks get along just fine. If a white person is racist, he's racist not only to blacks, but he's racist to Spanish people as well. Okay, if he don't like blacks, he don't like Spanish people either. Okay, and so Spanish people and black people, they come together on that sometimes. Okay, but for the most part, you're talking about actual Mexicans. We got Mexicans coming up here in the north that they don't speak English at all. Okay. And they have to have these white guys take them around and show them what's going on. A lot of them are immigrants, illegal. A lot of them are legal. Okay. And they still have to go around and have these white people show them around and interpret it for them and help them work and all like that because they're not They don't care about speaking English. They don't care about, if you let someone work for you and they can't speak a bit of English, when they do something that is wrong, they're not going to try and break the barrier. They're going to try and get away with it, okay, and just blow you off instead of letting you tell them that they did something wrong. Next thing you know, things get out of hand. There's violence, and all like that. And I've seen the difference between an actual Mexican and a Puerto Rican, an actual Mexican and a Latina. I've seen the difference. Okay. Um, so you need to be careful when you say that, Donald Trump is hating on Mexicans. There's a fine line between Mexicans, first of all, and other Spanish colonies. There's a fine line between Mexicans that have been in this country for a long time legally, which is very slim, okay, and Mexicans that just come across the border, and next thing you know, okay, they're doing the grass work at your house. There's a big difference, okay. Um, but for blacks to say that, what about the Mexicans? Like Miss Cleavage the other day. Okay, I'm getting a headache because Mexicans, you know, it's true, and Donald Trump don't have anything personal against Mexicans any more than he has anything personal against Arabs. But it is the illegalness. Coming over here illegally is like somebody waltzing up on your house and just taking property, you know, or sleeping in the back of your house. Never ask permission. Never ask permission to take anything. Just just showing up, okay? And when you say, hold up, man, what are you doing? They act like, they have some kind of privilege or some kind of right to do that, or they just act totally criminal about it and willing to fight you over your own stuff. Okay? And that's what crossing the border and coming over here illegally is like. You know what I'm saying? Where are you going to go? What are you going to do? And who are you going to threaten? Who are you going to harm? Who are you going to steal from or whatever to do that? Okay? If I lived in another country and I came over here without money, without visa, without a license, some ID, didn't have a plan when I came over here, what would I be like? Put yourself in their shoes. Okay? And there are a lot of Spanish gang members, whether they be Puerto Rican or Mexican, that are really, really bad. Now, I got Spanish friends that live 20 minutes away from here. And the white folks over there don't like them. They're Puerto Ricans, okay? And that's a very segregated town over there. Um, and there might be one black person in the whole neighborhood, but there's a lot of Spanish people in that neighborhood over there. We all used to work together, okay? Um, but these Spanish people, everybody knows them and everybody says hello to them. But you got certain people that just don't like them. And when I say Spanish people, I'm talking about Puerto Ricans. People just don't like them, okay? For whatever reason. But they walking down the street, they getting ready to go to the store, they're going to your business and putting money in your cash register just like everybody else. You don't like them. They getting gas like everybody else, making you money, but you don't like them. You know, it's dumb. Okay. And I work with these people. I became good friends with these people. So I know, and I didn't come be good friends with them because I'm black. The white people that worked at my job, the old chocolate factory, well, it's not old, it's constantly expanding. But they got along perfectly with these Spanish people, these Puerto Ricans as well. Okay, so yes, there's a big barrier there. There's a big screw up there about who we can trust and who we can't. I've been to their homes. They've invited me into their homes. Okay? I've sat on their porch and we had laughs, and we even laughed about, ripping on each other as far as, how much of America belongs to Mexico, and how much belongs to black folks versus white folks and all this kind of stuff. We even went deep in with the jokes, and it was fine, you know. But you're always going to have people that don't like you. But when you're talking about actual Mexicans that are coming over here illegally, people in Texas, Arizona, and those parts of California that are close to the border, okay, they have a different story, okay? And a lot of these people were Democrats and Republicans that agreed with Donald Trump. Like, this needs to stop because they're the ones that are being stolen off of. Their daughters are the ones that are being raped. Their, uh, uh, you know, property on their property has been vandalized or tampered with, and so forth and so on like that. They're the ones that, so give me a break. Um, Donald Trump doesn't have anything against Mexicans in general. And he definitely doesn't have anything against Spanish speaking people. But when you talk about actual Mexicans, you really, really got to sort them out. That's just a fact. That's just the way it is. Okay. Um, and the super driver didn't understand that. And like Miss Cleavage yesterday, what about Mexican? This is where, I mock black people, or should I say mock these people. They look like me. Okay. This is where I mock you, and this is where I make fun of you, and this is where I address how stupid you are. Okay? Because um, it's very hypocritical for you to open up your mouth when before Donald Trump, you was always complaining about, war between blacks and Spanish, and you had to fight some Spanish people, or you had to fight some Mexicans, and all like that, mainly Mexicans. Okay, you know, I mean, back in the day, going all the way back to the peace years, like we're in Brooklyn with my cousin, and we're hanging out with these Puerto Rican guys. But we go down to Coney Island. They had Mexican gangs down there. And these Puerto Ricans are scared to death of these Mexicans. We have Mexican gangs down there. They had to shut down the park because of blacks and Mexican gangs getting into fights. On the day that I visited Coney Island, we all had to evacuate because of gang wars. I went to Philadelphia later on, and there were Spanish. They called them Spanish, but I believe they were Mexicans. Mexican gangs versus black gangs shooting at each other. We all hit the deck. Bullets flying over our head. What are you talking about? This is the difference. And this is what Donald Trump is talking about. Okay? Now, these people that were living up here, I don't know if they were um, Mexican, actual Mexicans. Some of the neighbors told me they were Guatemalans. I don't know nothing about Guatemala, okay? But I do know that these people that were living right here next door to me, very peaceful people, but they were selling drugs. I got them red-handed. They were selling drugs right here on my property. They're selling drugs, okay? They're selling drugs. I caught them red-handed, okay? In this lovely neighborhood, selling drugs, okay? This is what Donald Trump was talking about, okay? Um, but this Uber driver also screwed up on what it means to be rich, and he started hating on rich people. And he said the Republican Party is all about rich people. Really? What's wrong with being rich? I think the reason why I think the Democratic Party is full of people who, and I explained this to the young boy. I says, well, Democrats feel that they should become wealthy by taking from others, from reducing what other people have. If somebody, if you know what I'm saying, it's like a game of steal. Like if if we're going around the board and you're short of money, then you can steal. Some games are like that. You can steal from your opponent. There's like policies there where you can steal. Okay? Or Republicans are like, hey, if I work hard to be rich, then you're not my problem. You don't get to steal from me. This is mine. I work hard to be rich. This is mine. Okay? And this young man didn't understand anything about capitalism. And I don't understand the whole thing about capitalism either. I do know this, that if I become rich, if I got the money to do it, and I want to buy out Donald Trump and take over Trump Towers and make Trump Towers my thing, I can do that if I got the money. Now, Trump could go to court and say, hey, please take my name off your towers if you're going to be, turning it into a warehouse or something. Yeah, he could do that. But to the most part, if I want to take over Trump Towers and buy out Donald Trump, okay, I can. Okay? And that's capitalism. You know what I'm saying? If I want to take if I want to make a deal with the city, the state, you know what I'm saying, and turn, this or that into, if I want to take your ghetto and turn it into, and we're doing that here in Pittsburgh right now, and this is one of the tactics that they're using to get rid of crime. If I want to take your ghetto and turn it into a luxury, resort or a luxury, gated neighborhood or whatever, I can do that. Money, 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 baby. I can do that. This is where money is a defense, like the Bible says, as wisdom is a defense. You need both. Okay. Um, and there's only one law about making money: legal or illegal. But see, the Democrats will make so many different things illegal just to keep other people from having it. So just because people are rich, that makes them evil people. And that's just bullcrap. And I've heard some of the best black people I've ever met. Okay? And here's the hypocrisy right here. Here's the hypocrisy right here. Some of the best black people I ever want to meet that love to talk like they know everything. Okay? And they've been in the service, they've been in college, they've had it going on, but they're not rich. So what they say is they get with the Democrats and they talk about ways to punish rich people. And me and this guy, I did a video about it. Me and this guy at work got into it. We got into it so bad that we got in trouble with our boss about, going off on each other in the office. Like, hold up, man. What do you mean that, you're going to um, charge the rich or take from the rich just for the sake of taking from the rich? I'm not rich, but that really offends me because I desire to be rich. I desire to be an entrepreneur one day. And I desire, I got my eyes on the diamonds and the platinums and all like that, just like everybody else in this business. What you mean, bro? That you're gonna charge the rich? Because if you charge Donald Trump and try to push policies that attack his money, I'm looking up to this man and I'm trying to go where he's going. Okay? You're going to do the same thing to me, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you talking about? I'm just charged the rich. Just to be charging. Like, no, the rich need to be doing something wrong. And don't make up stuff wrong at the last minute and say, oh, well, we're going, for what? You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? If you got it, you got it. Okay? Um, there's nothing wrong with being rich. And here's the hypocrisy. All the black people, did you see those videos that I just did a week ago? On black millionaires and billionaires in America? The city of Atlanta and how many millionaires and billionaires are from Atlanta, and there's a lot of black people behind the wealth of Atlanta. I don't know if that's Atlanta City, New Jersey, or Atlanta. Where's the other one in Georgia? I think they might be talking more about Georgia. Um, but what are you talking about? Like, here's the hypocrisy, and then I'm gonna have to part two of this. Um, so when black people become millionaires or billionaires, what do? Look at Pinkett and Will, for example. Their kids never work. What did Will want his son Jayden to do when he was this small? Okay, he wanted him to become a rap star. He wanted him to become a movie star. He didn't say, hey, let me start you off working for McDonald's. I want you to go down here and work with the local kids and work with McDonald's, learn how to mop the floor and clean the bathrooms and all this, okay? And get your game on so that you can be rich. No. He privileged his kids. He told them, be like your daddy, be like your mama, be a star, be a rap star, be a musician, be a dancer, you know what I'm saying? Get out there and do something in social media and on television to make yourself some money. And I'll work that all out for you. I'll invest in that for you. Black folks do the same thing to their kids and their family when it comes to wealth as white people do. But before you was rich, oh, you was making wealth a white racist thing. You was calling it white supremacy until you became rich. And then you're gonna go down to you're gonna sit way back here and like LeBron and tell the rich or tell the poor black people how to charge the white people and hate on white people for being rich and call it white supremacy and all like that. But then you don't never go down to the ghetto anymore. You make sure you don't get contaminated with that ghetto disease. You know what I'm saying? Like people hating on Brother Polite for moving to Beverly Hills. And there's always been a number of black people living in Beverly Hills for a long time. But, you know, uh, when Brother Polite, as long as he was coming down to Harlem and they was having a yelling and screaming match, you know what I'm saying? But when his book sales led him to Beverly Hills, he didn't really care about coming back down here to Harlem. Okay? Now they want to hate on him for it. But yet he's still writing books for the people in the ghettos to be where he's at. And he's explaining how he got there. But no, they want to hate on him because it's jealousy. So what's the difference between what they of them hating on Brother Polite and them hating on Donald Trump? What's the difference? It's just jealousy. That's all it is. It's just jealousy, and because you don't have, you feel that other people shouldn't have. Okay, and that's just the wrong attitude. I'll talk more about that in a part 2. Thank you for watching.